Hello friends, and welcome back to the Okie Hippie Farm channel, where I'm actually taking a break from the arch cabin build in order to prepare for the arrival of livestock. The ultimate goal is going to be installing an electric fence along the creek, and that's going to allow me to implement rotational grazing once the cows arrive. But for now, we started on the north side of the property. We had to make a modification to the existing barbed wire fence. Today we're going to be moving some fence. My neighbor had a survey done and the property lines were incorrect with the barbed fence, so I've actually got about 10 more feet of property. You can see the gap there between the two fences. He built this new fence here, so what we're going to do is connect my corner post to the metal corner post. And then we're going to take all those T-posts and barbed wire down. It's about 400 feet, I think. It's about 40 T-posts. Usual suspects are here to help. And we're going to get started. Now that we had moved the north fence line, the first step to installing the electric fence was to put up a post. If you've ever wondered how many tools it takes to dig a hole in backwoods Oklahoma rocky terrain, you're about to find out. Here's number one. As we were finally finishing up the first post, it was now time to begin figuring out where to run the electric fence along the creek. In some instances, I placed some T-posts in the creek to allow the cows to get their own water, but still keep them from being able to run freely in the creek. The only problem with this is, you guessed it, rocks. Surprisingly, some of these T-posts went in relatively easy. For an electric fence, you can install T-post insulators to hold the electric wire but still keep distance from the metal posts. That's what I'm doing here. There are also insulators you can install on trees. I ended up using a lot of these since I have a lot of trees that run alongside the creek. You can nail or screw these into the trees, and we chose to use a drill to screw them in. Our plan was to put the electric wire about 29 to 30 inches above the ground, just enough to keep the cows from being able to step over it.
All right, Dad, what do we got there? What contraption?
Well, we put this spool on here, run through all these deals with these cattle. We're going to run this wire down through there and with solar power, electrify it, so we can keep the cattle in here in this certain paddocks.
Yep.
Then move them around so they just eat the grass one spot.
And what do we got here? What's this contraption?
We just manufactured that. We're going to try this and work, but it'll work. It should just peel right off.
All right, so we got a couple cinder blocks set up. We were trying to figure out how we were going to roll this off, if we were going to carry that spool all 1,300 feet or not. That spool, I'm not sure. It's probably somewhere 60 to 80 pounds at least, and a little awkward. So we set up these cinder blocks. We've got a stake here that runs through the middle of the spool on the wire and over to the other side. And our plan is to take that wire, we're going to pull it all the way down through all the wire insulators that we were doing earlier. So let's see how this goes.
With the wire all up, it was now time to install the ground rods. It's recommended that you do at least 2 ground rods at least 10 feet apart. The rods we had were 4 feet long, and if you followed this video and my previous videos, you can imagine how excited I was to drive these through the rocky terrain. After finally getting everything hooked up, I still needed to clear the fence line by cutting down some branches and thorn bushes. I had recently purchased a Greenworks electric chainsaw, and this was my first time to use it. I have to admit that I was surprisingly impressed. As we're wrapping up with the clearing, be sure to stay tuned for the next video where I'll walk you through the finished fencing and discuss the component parts like the energizer and the insulators. See you hippies and hippie wannabes soon.